Haha, forgot to put in my video. All right, let's get that set up. Just starting off with my first coffee, so no video yet. So let's go get that. Let's copy that. My camera. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. And there we go. Okay, that's a bit better. Cool, cool. Yeah. Well, that's how we start the day, I guess. All right, cool. So, yeah, so for those who, hey, how's it going, IU? Yeah, so today I'm just working on some open source stuff. It's new uh, prototype stuff I'm looking at. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be looking at this issue if we switch over to pairing view where it's just me, as I always like to say, half a pair, I guess. What I'm working on is this issue. So let's zoom that in so the folks in the back can see. So I'm working on this prototype. I'll drop that in the chat. Just gonna switch over to chat over here. All right. YouTube is up. It's since I stream on multiple platforms now, I was able to comment on my own LinkedIn stream the other day after following some instructions they said, which were that LinkedIn said, which was to just clear your cache and like empty everything, which I did, which is kind of funny as a web dev. I didn't think to do that because I was like, I'm already linked up, it should work, but it worked like once, and then I've done the same thing again and it doesn't work. So if you happen to be catching this on LinkedIn, I will see your comments. I just can't respond to them. I still don't know why. But anyways, that's it is what it is. I'm gonna drop a link to the issue I'm working on. Drop it there, and let's go to Restream. All right, cool. Oh, I just gotta log into Restream again. One sec here. I am prepared somewhat. It's just I've got another Restream account at the moment because we're doing a live stream tomorrow for OpenSauced. If you haven't checked out OpenSauced, check it out here. Um, yeah, so I was setting it up because we're gonna stream to X/Twitter tomorrow as well. So that's what that was. Okay, yeah, looks like there's a new view in Restream. Not a bad thing. It looks better actually. Okay, so I got the chat open there. That should be good. All right, cool. And then let's just drop this here. Whoops. Where'd that link go? Here we go. Okay, cut that out. And boom. Okay, there we go. So that's what we're working on. And I don't need this here. Essentially, uh, it's going to be a table that shows pull requests for a particular repo. It's proof of concept as mentioned. This is in our public repo, so you can go ahead and read this if you want to. Um, Essentially, we're just going to show a list of the pull requests with their different, well, with certain information, like whether it's open, merged, etc. You know, the PR number, title, stuff you're used to seeing in um, GitHub, like information wise, but it's going to be consolidated into this one grid here, and we're going to surface some other information about it. Yeah, your kiddo's here for the llama. It's I don't want to be the guy that says, well, actually, but a lot of people think it's a llama, and I hate saying, well, actually, or whatever. I'm trying not to mansplain here. It's really it looks very much like a llama. Maybe I should switch to a llama. I don't know, but it's an alpaca. Um, if you're ever in Montreal, IU, I don't know if you'll ever be, but just outside of Montreal, like probably an hour, hour and 15 minutes, there's like tons of alpaca and llama farms. They don't raise them to eat the meat. It's literally for all their fur. It's or sorry, for the wool, which ends up being super expensive. Hey, how's it going, my friends? Since you're just joining, I was mentioning I'm just gonna be working on. I work at OpenSauced, and OpenSauced is all open source. So I'm working on a feature today. That's a new thing I'm starting. So just working out in the open on this. Let me close a few things here. I don't think we need to look at performance profiling of something. Uh, let's delete those. Okay. What else do I have on my desktop? I can close that. Cool, cool. Yeah, no, they do look alike. Um, I'm trying to remember. Well, you know what? Since you asked, llama versus alpaca differences. There we go. Because I actually don't know all the differences. So why don't we just go take a peek? Let's. Okay, so let's take a peek here. Alpaca versus llama. Okay, so here we go. Let's see here. All right. No, there is not a question. I don't need help from the chat. Not my chat, the alpaca versus llama chat. So, okay, so there's a couple of things here. So llamas appear to be bigger. Uh, this is this is kind of a funny fact, but llamas are more prone to spitting. So, anyways, that's making me laugh. Uh, sauce or whatever it's called. I might need some onboarding. Yeah, hey, Mar friends. Yeah, if you just head over to OpenSauce, I'll drop a link to it. Excuse me. Um, yeah, there's onboarding flow there and stuff. I'm curious if you do have any issues, let us know. But I think it's pretty straightforward. But I'm also an engineer on the team, and I see this stuff all the time. So sometimes, you don't see some things that are obvious because you're in it all of the time. So yeah, so llamas apparently spit a lot more. They seem to be bigger. Aside from that, I don't know. They appear to have different bellies, I guess. Um, okay, that's the other difference. So like IU, we're going on a nature trip here. Let me go back here. Where'd my chat go? Okay, there we go. It looks like the snout or the nose of the alpaca is a little smaller than the llama. I feel like the llama has more like a camel-like head, not like fur-wise, but like and I really love how they really pronounce the spitting here. There's this huge like hunk of spit coming out of the llama. So anyways, so I guess that seems to be the main differences, and yeah, I think that's really it. Anyways, I I was curious to know, so there we go. And just for that, let's go change the alpaca's hat. So, right, okay. Let's get back to less serious things than alpacas and llamas. Oh, thanks, my friends. Appreciate it. Yeah, we have some awesome designers and you know, great engineering team, and we're still improving stuff. But thanks for checking it out. And yeah, if you want, we have a Discord. If you go on to opensauce.pizza that I linked, if you have any questions or stuff, we're always looking for feedback. So anything's appreciated. So yeah, so essentially this is what we're gonna be building. So let me change, I'm on the beta branch. Okay, let's zoom in here. One, two, that should be pretty good. Let's hide the sidebar. Let's get a bit of real estate here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm on the beta branch. Let's just get latest. Cool. Okay, and I'm gonna create a new branch and we'll call it PR table proto. NB is just an alias of mine. It just creates a new Git branch. All right, cool. Let's see. Cool, cool. Yeah, seems like I don't think there's anybody on LinkedIn. Let me go see. Well, no, somebody would have posted actually if I would have seen it otherwise. Okay, so let's close all this stuff here. Okay, so we want to create a new page. So we open up the sidebar here, actually, I don't even want to create a new page yet. I want to create a new component. So this is, let's see here. We've been reorganizing our components too because there's a couple weird folders, molecules and organisms, and these are concepts from Atomic Habits, which Atomic Habits is a good thing. It's definitely one way to build things, but we don't need it in the actual structure of our components folder. But that's an ongoing thing that we're just cleaning up. But um, I'm wondering what I should put this under. For now, we can always do this, change this later, but we could call this, let's say new file, and we'll say the folder is pull requests, and then we'll say uh, pull request row.tsx. Now we're going to keep this simple, and I'm going to show you how I build out stuff in Storybook because I uh, I think sometimes people have a hard time initially if you're new to the project, or to Storybook, like how do you get going? And like, so don't even think about building a page or anything. So like, and this is how I actually build out components in general. Um, so we're gonna just create a new component. So we'll call it const pull request row. Oh, your eyes? Oh, you laughing at the light theme? I'm guessing that's what you're talking about, my friends. I have dark themes too. Sorry, you're making me laugh a lot. Um, I keep flip-flopping between the two. So like I have a nice dark theme that I do like. Well, there's several. Sarah Drasner has one, but Astro is one. Do I even have it installed right now? No, I don't. Oh, Houston, sorry. Um, I can't type today. There it is. And this is a really nice theme. Um, but I've noticed for streaming, I think, I don't know. I keep flip-flopping. Like I was like diehard dark theme, and then at one point I was like on light, and I don't know, I just stuck with it. So I'm gonna let your eyes burn today if that's okay, Mar friends. If you want, if you send me your address, I will send you some sunglasses, just or maybe some SPF 30 in case you get suntan. Hey Hernan, nice to see you. uh yeah, I was just saying, like, I'm not partial to one or the other, but like I went through like, hey, how's it going, Adrian? Thanks for joining. Um, I don't know. I just flip flop, but lately I've been finding the light theme fine, and it smells like a SWAT. Yeah. Okay. Cool. 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 Yeah, it's a trap. What's the slash GIF? It's a trap, and it's a Star Wars guy. I forget what that general's name is, but anyways. All right, y'all are getting me distracted here, so let's do this. So pull request, and we're just gonna, for now, we're just gonna say return just to start things off. And we're using TypeScript, so we do want to have some props here. So pull request row props, and we're gonna have one thing in there. Whoops. There. Interface. Come on, Copilot. You want to. There you go. All right. Cool. And I don't have a pull request type yet, so let's just do this. I'm gonna take. There's some test data in here. Where is it? I'm just gonna take this for now. Let's just copy that. And I'm just gonna create a type. So let's just say paste. Whoops, why didn't that copy? Cool. Yeah, it's a Next.js app, our friends. We're currently using the Pages router still. Um, oh, no apologies about being late, Idrinth. Just appreciate you joining us. Don't sweat it. Yeah, it's Next.js. We're using App Router. We have some middleware. We're using Supabase for authentication. We've got some Shad CN components in here, Tailwind, and TypeScript, obviously. I've recently been writing some end-to-end tests that we're trying to get into the project. So here's one if you want to see that. I've got a PR up for that. I don't think that's merged. Oh no, these ones are merged already. Just some smoke tests, but we'll definitely be building out more of those. All right, so let's just do this for now. And let's see here. Okay, I don't need this. And type pull request equals sure. Uh, all right, and oh yeah, there we go. Boom. Okay. So there we go. Now this is obviously it's got explicit values in here. I'm just gonna leave it as it is for now. Yeah, so with Next.js, so Pages router is what Next.js was until in terms of routing until about a year and a half ago when they released Next.js 13. React has some new features, including React Server components, and there's a few things that you get with App Router, which is the newer router in Next.js. So you can have nested layouts. You can use React Server components, which means there's stuff you can you can even await data and stuff now on the server side. Like you could always do server side rendering of React, but it was basically creating a string from like there was a render. I forget what the method is, render to string or whatever. But basically, you can work um, with React Server components, which I haven't really worked with yet, to be honest. Um, there's you're able to await data now, so that you don't have to necessarily have all the data at the top level component and then just kind of drill it down in. Um, what else? Yeah, you can stream in React Server components, so like you can kind of have a shell of your app, and you can still server side render or like when you load a page, but like as you start on the once you're on the client, it can switch into like a client side routing mode. Um, there's some things with it. I really have to start building something with it, because I've only done like a speed run through their tutorial really. Um, Yeah. Okay, you're doing client-side rendering? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's still use cases for single page applications and I think a mix of it, it's but yeah, I can't really totally weigh in on RSCs yet until I actually build something substantial with it, but basically, there's a lot more you can do on the server side now, and that's where things are leaning towards too. In general, in web development, like I'm a big fan of JavaScript and a big fan of TypeScript, but you do typically want to you want to have as little JavaScript on the page as possible. There's obviously cases where like if you have a big application like Figma or something, you're gonna need tons of client-side JavaScript. They use WebAssembly. There's all kinds of things, but that's like a full-blown app. But if you have like, uh, well, even an e-commerce site, you're still gonna have JavaScript obviously because you need stuff like you know interactivity on the client side. But the idea is just try and ship a minimal amount. Um, oh yeah, yeah. I've done handlebars. I've done a lot of handlebars. Um, yeah, handlebars is kind of like nunchucks because my blog is currently in 11D and it's pretty much I don't know if it's the exact syntax completely, but when I saw nunchucks, I was like, that's handlebars to me at least. Um, all right, cool. So I'm just using this test data and I've created a type that has explicit values. So like PR updated at can only be this value. But for now, because I'm building out the component, I don't really care about that. But I'm gonna see if I can actually I'm gonna put this into ChatGPT to just say create a type so it's not explicit values. So give me a sec here, ChatGPT. I'll bring it on my screen. I just want to, not that I have anything to hide, but like I don't think it's necessary to show your okay, why didn't that open? Oh, it's on my other screen. Okay, cool. Let's bring it over here. And this is stuff I actually do. So let's come over here. Okay, so let's zoom this in. All right, convert this type to primitive type uh, types. So explicit string boolean values aren't used. And I'm just going to paste this in. Let's see what it spits out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I want. And like, I could have done this myself, but these are the kinds of things I use ChatGPT for. So now this is creating my type for me. And that's exactly what I need. So I'm going to copy that and let's come back over here and let's just make this now and then see when I look at my type. There we go. Nice and beautiful. Okay, perfect. This really is a use case. Why is my YouTube open there? Oh yeah, I was testing the stream. Um, it's a valid use case. Like that is one of the ways that I typically use ChatGPT. Like that's an example, but it's something I do use pretty often. Set multi-page app with handlebars, basically get data straight with the ORM. Yeah, yeah. Essentially, with the what you're asking, my friends, is having RSCs now unlocked more on the server side. It is a little misleading, the name though, React Server components, because they don't have to be used in the server side. Like if you're generating, for example, my old coworker Matt Kane, who works at Netlify, he created a static site generator using React Server components. So like you don't need to use them always on the server side in the context of an application. And even during build time, they can be called. So you're asking, it is the same pattern. SSR is the same thing as having a multi-page app with handlebars, basically. Yeah, essentially it is so MPA or multi-page app is what people call stuff that aren't single-page applications. But if you've been in web dev for long enough, it's basically that is what a website was before single-page applications came around. But we had to give this a name because just to distinguish. So yeah, you can have an ORM or AJAX. So yeah, you can basically do all those same things. One of the things that's interesting, and again, I still have to dive into this more, but because it's easier to you can await data on the server side with React Server components now. You can actually have components that are bound with their like they're data aware, so that they're just kind of these like little mini apps, I would say, kind of. So cool. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so I got my type there. Okay, I've got this YOLO here. So now what I do is, so we co-locate our storybook stories. So I'm gonna I'll just copy this, boom, and we'll say dot stories dot tsx. That's just the syntax we use. And I'm gonna go to an existing storybook story that I have. I should really create a template for this instead of copy pasting every time, but that's what we're gonna do. And let's come over here and boom. Okay, now this is obviously not the story we want. Um, so this is going to be components. We'll say pull requests. This is just giving a name. I'll show you. This is kind of like the folder structure you'll see in Storybook. Pull request row. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now we just basically want to change all of these. So I'm going to use Command D, or it's Control D if you're on Windows, I think. Or actually, I'll do Command L. And is it not working? Oh, wait, let me close this. For some reason, when I have Loom open, there's a shortcut I gotta fix. So it opens up Loom. So Okay, so I did Command Shift L and it selected all of them here. So I'm just gonna change this to pull request row. Okay, let's do that. And cool, cool. I could have sworn I just changed this. Okay, let's do this. Pull requests, pull request row. This will all become familiar in a sec. I see your question there. Um, but isn't the SSR really shining if the entire app is built on Node? Yeah, a lot of things are going towards the server side. It's not just Node though. It can be running on Dino. It could be running on Cloudflare workers. Some places have Bun. So there's different JavaScript runtimes, and even Amazon has their own. AWS has their own now called LLRT for another Node runtime, and for another JavaScript runtime, I should say. Yeah. So I'm going to show you exactly why Storybook is useful right now. So I'm going to just, because I copy pasted this, there's a lot of stuff in here that I don't need. So let's get rid of that. We'll get rid of all the args here. And okay, we don't need this. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I'm going to let Copilot fill this in for me. That looks good. And I'm going to get rid of the rest here. Okay, I'm gonna move this over to the side, and we've got a storybook story now. So I'm gonna start storybook. So I'm gonna type nr, which is just npm run for me, and storybook. This is a npm script that we have in the project, and then it's gonna open up storybook on the left here. We'll see this load up now. So the main reason why I think it's great to build out in storybook is you're forced to build something as a component. That might sound very obvious, but when you're in Storybook, think of it as you're like on some kind of workbench. You don't have access to the entire application. Oh, I know why that's happening. I actually took the wrong thing. This should be coming from components, pull requests. What is it? I thought I was updating the story before, but okay, pull requests, row. There we go. Okay, let's save that. And did I export it? Oh, it's not exported. That's why. So we're going to say export if I know how to. I'll get back to the explanation there in a sec, Idrint. Okay, that's good now. This is going to rebuild. Give it a second. Or did I crash it completely? Okay, yeah, I did. Okay, let's start it up again. All right. So, yeah, basically, like before something like Storybook, like if I were to build out this pull request table, I have to build it out right in the application. And that means you need to load the entire application. Depending on what your application is, that could mean a lot of things are loading up. When I worked at Dev2, Dev2 is a Ruby on Rails monolith. It uses Redis. It's got Postgres database. You need Ruby, obviously, because it's Rails. And a bunch of other things, and you have to load all of that up. And I was leading front end over there, so I was mainly working on front end. So with all that, if I wanted to build out a new component, I would have to have all that up and running just to build out my component. Now, don't get me wrong, I did need all that stuff set up because I did have to run the app at some point on my own machine. But in terms of building out a component, you just come here and here's your empty canvas. And so like I have YOLO in here right now, but I can say like, hey, Idrint, you know, and it doesn't, and then it just updates. And so like I can get fast feedback. I'm just building out my component now. And so what we need here is a table row. So we're gonna say a tr, and then let's see if it pulls in. I'm curious if it's gonna do everything here. Pull request number. There we go. I'm just gonna let it go. Um, we might not need all this, but Okay. Deletions. What else is in there? Changed files, repo name, uh, PR commits. Okay, cool. So now I'm just gonna come back over here now, and all of a sudden you're gonna see a table row here. And so yeah, it's that's exactly it. It's lightweight. Like I don't even. It doesn't matter what your application's built with. Like say I'm working on a React front end, but the back end's Elixir. I don't have to care about any of that because I just have my canvas here kind of. And the other thing too is, you just pass in data that you're expecting and you can have different scenarios. So like if we go to an existing one, so like this is a graph I built out showing most used languages, but you can toggle stuff like who's active, new, alumni. It's not changing much there, but I can do stuff like is it loading? And then I can say, you know, yes, it is loading, so this is what it looks like. So you can actually show this to somebody, okay, this is what it's like loading, and then once it's done, boom, it goes to this. And it's just a nice way to build out components. And the other thing is, because you don't have that burden of the whole application, the other advantage too is you can't rely on things that are in the application. So when I'm building out a component, I have to I have to pass in props, like if we're talking about React, um, and I can't depend on like, or typically you shouldn't, like, some globals and stuff. You want to pass in all these things as props, so it forces you in a good way to actually build the component like a component, so it's self-contained. And you can see here we have this here. So like I can change things here. It's a little awkward with this because it's a large object, but I can change this and then it should update it, I think. I'm not sure if it does, but anyways, so I have this table here now. And so that's an okay start, but there's a few things we want to do here now. So I'm gonna move this over like this, and I'm gonna just show the whole thing. We don't need the sidebar. Yeah, exactly. If you need 40 gigs of RAM to run your app and all you're doing is building out components, like, to be fair, once you have the actual component built and you need to put it in the app, obviously you need to run your app, but there's like a huge part of it where you probably don't have to. Okay, to see somebody. Oh, no, that's just me dropping things in the chat. Okay, cool. So already, so like basically I am set up right now to just build out this component. I have some test data that the storybook story has. So, and let's kind of break down some of the stuff going on in the storybook. So we import our component here. These are some objects from storybook. And what they do here is, if you look at this, Meta is able to, using TypeScript, so using type of pull request row, that's going to give us a type for the pull request component. And then we can add some metadata, so like a title and component slash pull request slash pull request row. That is what this is over here if in the sidebar. So it says pull request row. It's just the structure of the folder. So that's that. So that's some metadata. And then the component which we're working on is pull request row. And this is a newer storybook format. And I actually have an issue in the repository. If anybody's interested in getting involved with Storybook, we have, because I only started at OpenSauced last September, and there's a bunch of existing Storybook stories that use the old format, and they need to be ported over to this new format that I'm showing you. There's an issue. It's an overall arching issue for doing this. But if anybody's interested in that, let me know. And basically, you just need to create issues on that main issue and do like one storybook at a time. Like don't do a pull request that has like 10 storybook stories. I'd rather do them kind of in small pull requests just so we can see what's going on. So getting back to the structure here in the storybook story, um, we this is just conventions for storybook. We have to export a default variable called meta that and you can read up about this in the storybook documentation. After that, there's the storybook story type, because this is all TypeScript. So it's got this generic type here called story obj for object, and it's getting the type for pull request row. And then that's the type for our storybook story. And then what this takes here is args. So think of args as the props of the of the component. So we have a pull request prop here. If we come back here, that's the pull request prop here. And I'm just, and this is the nice thing here. So like, again, like I was saying, you don't need the actual application to be running. So I'm just saying, like, we have a pull request prop. I'm going to pass in some data so I can actually visualize the component as I'm building it out. And this is where you're going to end up building different stories. So this is the default one. But I could create another one, which is like, I could say like export const merged PR. And then basically the only difference might be that the state, instead of open, it's merged. And because there's going to be different icons associated to that. So then you'll be able to see different views of that row. So that's kind of the magic of this. And I'm actually going to do that right now. It's not going to look any different right now because I don't have any icons or anything, but let's copy this. And there's some types that we do need to actually improve here, but this shouldn't just be string for PR state. I broke the storybook story, I know that. So what I'm doing here now is I'm using a union type. So basically, instead of having a string for the PR state, we're narrowing the type. It's something that you typically want to narrow the type so that people can't just put in anything. So PR state can only be open, closed, or merged. So now if I come back to here, all right, I've got another default story. So let's call this merged PR. And then we'll just change this to merged. And you see how if I come in here, TypeScript should kick in. You see, it only gives me these three options. And so I'm going to pick merged, and then we'll pick a closed one too. And we'll say closed. Now, there's some other things we can do here, actually. These are properties all on there, but we can also add, I think, yeah, we can add some default args here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab most of this. I guess we can leave it maybe. Yeah, it's essentially the same thing. So let's do this. We'll leave it for now, but basically we could clean this up to say get pull requests so that we don't have to type all these things in each story. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. Okay. Why can't I? Oh, yeah, and this one should be closed PR. Okay, so let's save that. Now it's going to rebuild. And now you see here we have a default, and I could even rename that to open pull request. And I think there might be, oh yeah, so there's draft as well. So I thought draft was one of the states, but it's actually a Boolean on it. So we could have a draft PR2, which is another good one. But you can see here all of a sudden, if I close the side here, we have different storybook stories for the same component. And right now, they look exactly the same aside from saying closed, open, or merged. But once I have, icons loading in my component and stuff, you're going to see it's going to look different. And this is also a great way to show things to people like, hey, I'm working on the pull request table. Okay, yeah, so this is what it looks like when it's a merge PR. This is what it looks like when it's a closed. This is when it's open. And also, this is what it looks like when it's a draft PR. So I'm going to change this to open because that just makes more sense, I think. And we're going to create a draft PR one too. And let's do that. And I do have stand up in 40 minutes, so I don't think I'm gonna finish this component, but I just wanted to, I just want to kind of get it started and also just, show people how Storybook works if you haven't used it before. So we're gonna create a draft one now and PR state. So there's probably a case where uh, well, no, I guess it could still be draft and closed, but let's just say PR is draft, true, and it's open. Uh, because if it's a draft and it's closed, the icon's still gonna look like the same. It's gonna be a closed PR. And I'm gonna create a function called get pull request data, just because I'm tired of typing all this stuff here. So let's say function get pull request data, and this is just me being lazy, not having to type it all again over and over. And then here, and I'm gonna say return, and we'll return this, and it's saying left side comma operator is used and has no oh yeah, don't need that there. Okay, so let's save that. And so now we're gonna get pull request data, but I'm gonna pass in a few things here. So I'm gonna say we could have yeah, let's see, what will we do here? So this is gonna return a pull request, and what we're gonna pass in is a partial pull request. And this is going to be using TypeScript's partial there. Why is it not liking that? Partial pull requests. Cannot find name pull requests. Okay. Oh, I'm not exporting it, I don't think. Yeah, so we need to export the type. The type will go somewhere else after, but like I'll move things around after. So we come back into the story here, and if I just do this now, it's going to find it so I can auto import thanks to VS Code. And I'm not going to say this. I'm going to say, so this is kind of what we want. So I'm going to say object dot assign, and that's not what we want. We want just that, and that's good. And then we're going to add the partial, and then I'm going to say satisfies pull request. Should. Okay, cool. And then I don't, yeah. So then I don't need a type. So if we look at this, it says, you can see here, if I scroll down, it should return a full, yeah, it should return the full thing. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do now here. And this is just me cleaning up some stuff. So this one here, I just want it to be open. So I'm going to do this, get rid of all this. Cool. And I'm going to do this now. Get pull request data. And I'm just passing in part of it now. And so it's going to take all the default stuff I have. And then, oh, this should be called OpenPR. And then now you can see the pull request is still a pull request, which is good. And we're going to do the same thing for the other ones here. So, and again, I'm just saving stuff here by not having a, it cleans up the storybook stories a bit. Okay, so there, this one will be, what is it? Merged. So we'll just say merged. And then we'll just copy that whole thing again. And we'll do one more here and another. So this is the draft. And so PR is draft. And you see, because I've typed this as a partial pull request type, I get access to that and I can say it's true. And get pull request data, and there we go. And then, oh, did I have all of them here? So what do I got here? I've got open PR, merge PR, draft PR, open, shot. Okay, yeah, that's good. I don't need this last one. Okay, so let's save that. It's gonna rebuild. And now you see stuff has a different data and everything's still working. And it's actually returning a new object in this function, so it's not like it's the same thing in all of them plus something else. So anyways, that's just a little cleanup. Okay, so that's good, and boom. Okay, now we need to make this a little nicer, and I do have some table components already. Where are they? Shared table, yeah. Okay, table footer, table row. Okay, yeah, that's what they are. Okay. So I'm gonna change these are shad cn ones that I brought in. So table row, gonna import it, and then table cell, gonna import that. Not sure why it didn't copy over there. And then now I'm just gonna change all of these, and I'm just gonna do table cell and save that. And already you can see the styling is a little different. It's taking shad cn styling in there a bit. Yeah, no worries, Idrin. Thanks for hopping in, and thanks for the pull request on my Nikki T live site. Cool. So already you can see like I'm just changing stuff and I'm building it out in Storybook. So this is what I find super helpful. And so now we've got these numbers and stuff. PR title. Oh wait, why is this author repo? Did I do something weird here? One title. Oh, I think the data says that. I think that's why. If we go to the storybook story, let's open this. Okay, yeah. I got confused, so I'm just gonna rename it to some, let's say, feature added. Awesome feature. It was throwing me off. I thought I was somehow generating something else. Okay, author login, we'll just say B Dougie, he gets a shout out. And repo name, so we'll say open-sauced/app. Just getting in some more realistic information in here. So that's updated now. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so we've got some styling there, but there's a bit of a problem now. This is just a table row on its own. Like if we inspect this, you're gonna see it's a table row with table cells, but it's not in a table. So what do we do there? So yeah, so what we need to do now is we need to actually use a decorator in not TypeScript, in Storybook. And a decorator is just a way to wrap something around the components you're testing. And the reason we want to do that in this particular case is we need a table around this actual table row to just show it off. So we're gonna have decorators here, and it's an array. And okay, so it's Storybook, Copilot generated one for me. I'm not going to use it, but just to show you. So story is the actual component that gets rendered, and then the other stuff around it, it's usually like, think of it like a wrapper component, but it allows you to set up something so that the actual component you're trying to show can leverage it. But I'm just going to put in some stuff here which makes no sense at the moment, and you're going to see all of a sudden the component's wrapped with this div. So this is great. So what we want though now is we want to create a table. So I'm going to pull that from the shared stuff there. Oops, did I do that right? Oh, it would help if I closed it. Okay, so that's gonna save, and all of a sudden, you know, we have some kind of border too. But if we inspect now and come over here, you're gonna see it's in an actual table now. So that's cool. All right. So let's close the dev tools. Let's come back over here. And then like we'll need a table row, sorry, table header at some point, but for now we don't need that. So, okay, so we've got all that now, and I think let's move things around. So let's move the merged, not merged, what is it? Title, repo state. Let's move state up. Whoops. State, where'd you go? Okay. Here, and I'm gonna put it at the start. And that's because I want to actually show a an icon instead. We can also still give the what it is, but we could do this. So we could do can add a span, say class equals SR only for screen reader only, and we could do that, or actually we could put it on the icon maybe. So I gotta find the icon now. So let's see, merge. Okay, that seems to be it. So git merge PNG. Let's see if we can find where this is used. Okay, so I've used it there. We have some other icons though. These are images. We have icons we pull from though right now. So let's go look in the app. Let's see. Okay, yeah, pull requests. So inspect there. What is it? Okay, let's look for pull requests, and I'm gonna grab the icon there. Repository stat card. That is exactly what we want, and this is what we want. Return. This is the icon we want. So let's do that. And I got the open and so on. So, okay, already we're in business. So let's do this. Pull request row. We'll say, yeah, we'll need to get the state. So get pull request state icon, and yeah, pull request.pr state. So we want state, and it's going to be exactly that. Why is that not being found? Only refers to a type. But it's being used as a value here. No, it isn't. Oh, I think it's just messed up because here, there. Should be fine. Oh, cool. Thank you so much for the follow. I can't see who it is at the moment. It'll show up in a second. Um, I gotta zoom in. AT. Oh, hey, Danny. Thanks for the follow. Hey, Esther. How you doing? Whoa, people popping in here. Oh, yeah, no, I was gonna say, Esther, it is streaming to LinkedIn, but for some reason I can't comment on my own live stream. Anyways, thanks for joining. So I'm building out a component in Storybook right now. So um, basically, yeah, that's gonna be broken for the moment. Let me just put this temporarily to any. Oh, that's why it didn't work. Okay, it would help if I called it function. Okay, cool. And now we're gonna have a switch case. Okay, that's not exactly what I want, but let's do this. So merged, and then it's gonna be this git pull request icon. Okay, and then here it's gonna be the same thing. Hopefully you kick in git pull request icon. Let's see here. Not sure if that's it. Yeah, it's weird for the LinkedIn. so I dropped a message on LinkedIn saying like I find it weird I can't comment on my own live stream because and I know it works because like I'll catch Taylor Desson's live streams on LinkedIn a lot and I comment on there all the time. And so they said, you know, clear your cache, log out, log back in. I did that last week. It appeared to work once and then I ran into the same problem again, did the same thing, and I still can't post. So I honestly don't know what it is. Not gonna. Yeah, no, I'm using Restream, Danny. Um, but I know it does work because basically once I followed their steps to clear my cache and log out and log back in, it was working for like my last stream. But I tried it again because it wasn't working today, and I did the same thing, cleared the cache, logged out, logged back in, and still no dice. I'm gonna tinker around with it some more, but basically I can see people's comments because like the restream, just like StreamYard shows you everybody's comments. So when I see somebody from LinkedIn, I'm like, it's not that I'm not responding to you. I'm gonna respond to you just talking because I can't literally comment. So a little annoying, but anyways, also thanks for joining, Danny. I know you're always super busy on the go. You got your I think it's your Dallas what was it, Dallas open source project going on. I saw you posted. I could be getting that wrong, but git pull merge icon. Okay, this should be purple. Let's do that. Okay, and then this should be case merged. Okay, so essentially I've got this function here, which is just going to put in, do these take a title as well? They should. Okay, if they don't, I'll sort that in a minute. Let's do this, and we'll say get this in squiggly brackets, get pull request state icon, boom, boom. Okay, and now because I've typed it in TypeScript, the PR state I pass in can only be open, closed, or merged. And this is also just a depending on, I don't know people's experience levels with TypeScript, but you have types you can create, but you can also say like take out a piece of this type. And you can do that using like square bracket notation. So here pull request is the whole type, but I'm just saying I want the PR state. And that way, you know, you want to avoid creating more and more types. You typically want to infer or pull them out of other things. Um, oh yeah, Dallas Software Developers Meetup Group. Yeah, open source project with TypeScript. Trying to make it very beginner friendly. Um, yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, it's I can understand why TypeScript can be intimidating. I didn't find it that difficult to be honest, and I'm not saying that in a cocky way. What I mean is, I did a lot of C# and .NET before, and TypeScript is heavily inspired by C#. It's the same creator of C# is the one that created TypeScript, Anders Halsberg. I forget how you say his last name. So like stuff like generics and stuff, I had been doing that in C# already for a long time. So like even generic syntax wasn't that weird to me, but I can totally understand if like you've just been doing JavaScript, you've never used a type language at all, and then you see that, it can be super intimidating. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Java, same deal. So, but yeah, but a lot of the people like I'm sure that you're teaching are they're kind of maybe like boot camps or just only done front end with old school Java. Well, not old school, but just JavaScript. So I can definitely see that. Um, I think one thing too in when you're building an application though is like you typically you probably won't have super complex TypeScript types in it usually. Hey, how's it going, Himansu? Um, yeah, it's I think it just if you're writing a library like a npm package, you're gonna have some gnarly types in there probably just because of all the things you got to do. But in typical code, like most of the time when I'm in React, the main thing I'm doing is almost always you're mapping over some array of data, and that's what you're rendering, like some kind of list and stuff. And you definitely can have some complex types, but I think they're typically not too complex. And a lot of times, like I was saying, you can infer stuff. So, like here, and that's not a good example, but like in this function here, where is it? I don't have a good example here, but anyways. Yeah, exactly. The complexity is. I was actually thinking of a concept for. I was thinking this would be a potentially good way to break down how generics work. And I'm probably gonna write a blog post about this, but I think the thing that trips up people with generics that I've seen is it's like, okay, I passed in like, I don't know, say it accepts an array of some type that you can pop in, like you pop in a array of cars, and once they get into the generic function, they're expecting to be able to actually access the properties of the car in the generic function. But the thing you have to understand is it's a generic function, so you could be passing a car in, a boat, or whatever. So the only thing you have access to in that function are the common properties or functions or methods of like the array type. And I was thinking of explaining this in a way that like kind of like a ship, like a can not to confuse it with Docker, but like a big ship has all these containers. So there's certain things you can do with the container, right? Like you can put it on the ship, take it off, and then you can open it, but you have no idea what is in it. So I was thinking that as a way to kind of explain it, or like stuff in a bag, like a secret Santa, like you don't know what the present is, so you can't do anything with it yet. But you know that okay, you can give it to somebody, you can open it. I don't know, something along those lines. So, anyways, also thanks for the follows. Oh, that's a lot of follows. Thank you very much. Um, Cool, cool, cool. What time is it? 11:44. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got about 12 more minutes here, then I gotta stand up, and whoa, all kinds of people popping in here. It's going off the hook here. All right. So, like I was saying, just to recap, because there's some new people joining here, I'm building out a new component for a feature that I'm working on. Thank you again for the follow. Oh, subscribe. Thank you very much. Wow, it's going nuts in here today. Awesome. Appreciate all the follows and all the subscribes. So yeah, so what I'm working on is not this. So I have this new thing where I have to create it's a prototype. I'm building out a table that shows the pull requests of a certain repository. I work on an app called OpenSauced, and we're surfacing insights into open source, not open source, open source projects. And so this is one of the things that we're doing. This is new stuff. And instead of like building out this table in the application right away, I'm starting off with the table row. And the table row can be, an open pull request, a closed pull request, a merged one, a draft. And there's other information associated to it that's in here. And instead of building it out in the app, I'm building it out in Storybook. And this allows me to have it isolated. And yeah, no, thanks for all the new people in here. Really appreciate it. Um, it allows you to build out the component in isolation. And like I was saying to Idrinth near the start of the stream, so like when I worked at Dev2 is a Ruby on Rails monolith. It's running Redis. It's got Postgres database. You have to have Ruby installed on your computer, Rails set up, all that stuff. And I was leading front end over there, and I did need all that stuff eventually set up because oh, I'm glad you love the workspaces. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that, Esther, because the team will appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cool, cool. And also congrats. I think you got 100 pull requests in this month in like various projects. That's pretty wild. So congrats to that. So yeah, so you want to build this out without, like I don't need Rails, I don't need Postgres running, and I can just build out the component. And so like I have this component that I started building out here, and I have storybook stories associated to it. And essentially, I won't go through it all right now because we're almost at time, but essentially you have different storybook stories. And if I open up the sidebar here and just give a little more real estate, and I'll zoom in here. So you can see here we have different views. So there's open, there's like oh, you can see the icons showing up now that I popped in. So um it, the things aren't finished here, but the point here is you can show your component you're working on in different states. So here's merged. So eventually I'm going to have a different icon for merged, open, draft PR, close PR. And like a closed PR will be this, but a red icon, etc. And it's just really nice to build out this stuff. So just in isolation like this, I tend to move really fast like this, and uh, I don't know. I think it's a great tool. There's definitely alternatives to Storybook, but I don't think anybody else has really kind of stood out recently. Um, there were other things a few years ago, but I don't want to say it's the industry standard if you're doing front end dev, but it's a pretty great one. And so yeah, so I've just been building out this component. So you can see here, let's just see if we can get this in a better state now. I'm gonna come back to the main page. Uh, let's see here. Where did my sidebar go? Not that sidebar, the other sidebar. Maybe it's gone. Oh, there we go. I'm going to go to the main page here so that we can see all of them. So there's open. Yeah, let's go down here. And just so we can see them all, and I'm going to close the sidebar again. So we have this open PR, and let's close this. This is just my test data. What I really want to focus on is getting not that, the icon. Where did I put that function? It's in here. Oh, get pull request data. I feel like I'm imagining things here. Where's icon? Icon. No. Oh, silly me. That's code in the actual component. Okay, so you can see here, we've got these different ones here. So open. Okay, so we don't need a border. This was just from another thing. So I'm building out the component. The application is not running. This is just Storybook running. So now watch what happens when I save this. And let's save. And you're going to see the border is going to disappear here. It refreshed, but you see the border's gone. Things are a little different now. I'm going to have to change the size and stuff eventually, but merge, we want that to be purple. So we'll say purple and boom, save that. And now you see, okay, merged. And so I'm slowly building out my table component. And yeah, no, I'm on Esther, I'm on, it's not 36, I don't think. I think it's 34 inch. So when I stream, yeah, I'm showing my widescreen here at the moment, but I have to stream on, like when you stream to Twitch and stuff, it's 1080p. So it's 1920 by 1080, and then I squeeze in my thing, and that's why I end up basically I just zoom in stuff a lot, just so people can see it. Uh, yeah, and is that readable, the text, by the way? I can zoom in a bit more. This is also just a tip for people who stream in general, or if ever you're doing a presentation, zoom in things. People will appreciate it. They might not mention it, but I've heard numerous times, thank you for zooming in. Okay, so we've got this here. We don't need a shadow either. These are styles from the previous place I took this from. So there's that. We want this one to be open, and then we're going to say text green, and then closed is going to be the same thing, and that's going to be red. And if we save this, all of a sudden we're going to see, okay, I got a green icon for open, and then I've got merged and draft. Draft should be gray actually. So and actually I have to add that into if it's yeah, if it's a draft or not. So is draft, and again, we can do the same thing here. I mean, I know it's a Boolean, but we can just do this draft. Is that right? What is it? What's the type? I think it's is underscore draft. Nope. What is it? What is the type? I know it's Boolean, but PR is draft. That's what we wanted. Okay. And the reason why I'm showing this too is because right now I'm adding these types to my function here, but they're dependent on the pull request. So if I end up changing my pull request type, it's going to be reflected in these types too, which is nice. You don't want to end up recreating other types. So anyways, just wanted to mention that. So yeah, so if it's draft and it's open, because this only matters when it's open, so we could do this. So CL, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna zoom down, or actually, I'll go full screen, and we're gonna change this to CLSX, which is a utility for just merging stuff for class names. So let's just add that CLSX. Let's import that, and then I'm gonna have is draft, and then how does it work again? Yeah. Why am I drawing a blank? CLSX. You can use Booleans. I'm just like, my brain is sizzled at the moment for some reason. Why am I not seeing the... There's a Boolean example. What is it? Why am I forgetting what it is? Hey, how's it going, Todd? Lobster for you. Um, I'm wrapping up the stream shortly in a few minutes just because I've got a stand up shortly, but yeah, I'm just basically building out a component in Storybook and just yeah, slowly getting there. I'm just trying to remember the syntax in CLSX to say is draft. Is that it? Is draft. I think that's the syntax. Is that it? Let's see. Let's do text slate if it's draft. Okay, and let's go CR component now. Okay, no, that's draft PR. Hold on a sec. Gotta go to our storybook story. Oh, I'm not passing in the where's my component? Oh yeah, I gotta pass in whether it's draft or not. So pull request dot PR is draft. Okay, cool. And now it should kick in for, okay, merge PR. Merge PR. Okay, that's a bad example. So I've got to change the type, clean it up a bit. But essentially, I've got different icons loading. The merge PR is a different icon, so I do have to change that. But why does the llama on a shrimp or on an oyster on its crown? Oh no, that's not on its crown. It's if I hide this, you're gonna see it's something you can move on the screen. It's my friend Todd's in the chat, and he's a big fan of lobsters, so you can move Todd around. So if you say like Todd up, for example, you're gonna see the lobster move up. You can do right, left, down. There's a few other ones, like I have a poop emoji, and there's like a donut, and I always forget to pop them up. Anyways, um, I do have stand up now. So I just want to say thanks everybody for joining in. And thanks so much for all the subscriptions and for all the follows today. Just gonna see who we can go raid. So just hold on a sec here, and my alarm is going off to tell me I've got stand up in a few minutes. So let's just go see who we can raid. Okay, we're gonna go raid bald bearded builder. So let's do that. So let me do that. Hold on one sec here. Twitch slash raid bald bearded builder. And thanks again, everybody. And raid is about to happen. Let's do this. There's more people, I think, on YouTube, but whatever. It's all good. Cool, cool, cool. All right. We are raiding now, and I will see you next week, or probably later this week. Later, friends.